Hello, and welcome to another RPG First Look. This is the second First Look of the month, and we got at least one more coming after it. Today, we're going to be taking a look at TROIKA. TROIKA is a, let's see, how do they describe TROIKA? So TROIKA is a science fantasy RPG full of critically acclaimed writing, built-in wonder, and room for everyone at the table to go wild. So TROIKA is... I've seen it described as an OSR game, which I feel like as a term is becoming less and less a thing. The longer the term exists, the less it means anything to me. But what grabbed me about this game was that it was described to me as what would have happened if some of the early, like, weird sort of Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett vibe that was in kind of early English role-playing games had stuck around instead of being kind of stamped out and homogenized. There was a brief period where D&D wasn't going to be the thing that it was today, right? Especially in England. The British tradition of role-playing, especially with Warhammer and White Dwarf and like all of that kind of early stuff, was extremely weird. And we've seen other games try to kind of say, what would have happened if that weirdness had stuck around, right? Because D&D is not very weird anymore. Role-playing games, yeah, they don't have that kind of like decadent strangeness to them that maybe they used to. I'm thinking particularly of like Tecumel. If you're familiar with Empire of the Petal Throne, that's the kind of weird I'm talking about, right? D&D and RPGs got kind of bland through the 80s. And so there are these games. DCC is one, right? Dungeon Crawl Classics is one. It's a very American version. But TROIKA seems to capture the sort of British tradition of like late 80s, early 90s role-playing games and carry that tradition forward. So we're going to be looking at the NUMINOUS edition of TROIKA today and take a look. And of course, if you want to check it out yourself, you can go to www.troikarpg.com and you can have a look at the game as well as purchase it. I believe they've just reprinted the NUMINOUS edition, and if you pre-order it, you get a fancy limited edition cover, which is actually really cool art. The art, well, you know what? There's no point in me describing to you a painting when I could very easily just show it to you. So let's do that. Let's just take a look at TROIKA. So this is the cover of TROIKA NUMINOUS edition, and it is not what I would have expected from a tabletop role-playing game. Like, it's so weird. It's a disemboweled parrot robot person with their guts coming out, and they're being lectured by a sort of Seussian... It looks like a Pink Floyd album cover, right? Like, it's very easy. What's interesting to me is it's easy to make role-playing games. Role-playing games and heavy metal go so well together because of the source material, right? But looking at other art that isn't like a guy with a sword or like a cool bloody skeleton, like trying to use a different style of art, something a little bit more surreal, a little bit more. This feels a lot more like absurd, like English prog to me than it feels like metal, which is a cool thing to mix with a role-playing game. I would pick this book up off the shelf purely just based on this illustration because I would want to know what the shit I'm looking at. Like, what is this, right? And that I think is a great way to make a cover of a role-playing game. Yeah. So it's totally interesting. It says, okay, this is going to be a bit weird. This isn't going to be what you expect necessarily. Let's find out what it is, right? So as with a lot of these books, they're using, we saw this in Morkborg. We've seen this in a few other things. The interior cover is where they keep some of their tables, right? So we can learn then, because tables are setting, we can learn that this is a game that has melee weapons, ranged weapons, and beastly weapons. We can learn that there is magic in this and that there is damage, right? Now, I know that sounds silly to be like, well, of course, but the first thing we see mechanically is a list of weapons, spells, and damage, right? And so by just looking at this, we can see some of the things that characters in this game can do, right? We know that they fight with weapons. We know that they have some might have spells, right? We know that there are pistols in this game, and we know that there are beasts, and the beasts are harmful. So you can learn quite a lot just from looking at a table, right? I think these are a cool way to sort of like hint at some of the things in the game, right? So we'll take a quick look at the table. Obviously, we're going to be looking through page by page, so I don't need to read off the entire contents to you. But this game is written by Daniel Sell, illustrated by Jeremy Duncan, Dirk Detweiler Lechty, Sam Mameli, and Andrew Walker. Editing and development by Jared Crater. Layout and development by Christian Kessler. Additional development by Daniel Martin. And it's proofread by, and this is a familiar name, Fiona's name has come up at least 3 times now as proofreader or as editor. So Fiona Maeve Geist and Corey Bryn. Corey Bryn's name is familiar to me as well. But the rest of the devs, I have not seen their name on other stuff. So I'm very curious to see what this is like. Let's see. Anyone can publish free or commercial material based on or declaring compatibility with TROIKA without express permission from the publisher, as long as you state the following legal text and you assume that they are not going to take responsibility for your product. So in a same way, there's a lot of similar vibe to what we do with Dungeon World, right? Like the reason that we made Dungeon World Creative Commons the way that we did was so that we could avoid having to deal with anything anybody made. We could just say, here's the game's mechanisms. If you want to make a game like based on it, go ahead. You just have to put our name in the game somewhere, and that is it. So we would not have to deal with people saying, hey, Adam, somebody made this really terrible, socially irresponsible hack of Dungeon World. What are you going to do about it? Because I don't want to have to do anything about it. I'm going to just be able to say it's bad. You're right. But there's nothing I'm obligated to do. So it's an interesting way. If you compare and contrast this with some of the other licenses we've seen, like Morkborgs that we saw at the end, various companies have different degrees of how much control they want to have over material based on their games. But we're seeing more and more stuff that specifically details what that might look like, which I think is really cool. For role-playing games in general, I think it's great. They don't all have to be the same. I'm not asking everybody to license in the same way, but it is really cool to be able to put this in your book and that people are thinking about it. It speaks to the DIY nature of small press role-playing, and I think it's nice to see that. So I'm going to skip over the table of contents because we're going to see every single one of those pages. I will pause for a moment. This is great. It's not at all what you would see. It reminds me a little of Electric Bastion Land. So far, I think those two games kind of like aesthetically have the most in common of all the first looks we've done. But this is a great piece of art. I think it's very evocative. I'm not totally sure, because of the perspective, I'm not totally sure if we're supposed to be the potion seller or the green-skinned horned creature with the sword. I do like his mustache. I love that it creates an alien feeling by showing you that they're speaking in squiggly runes. It's nice. It feels alienating in a way that I appreciate. I think there's a good way to alienate people and there's a bad way to alienate people. And I think that this is alienating in the good way, right? I look at this and I'm like, what the hell is this? What am I looking at? I'm familiar enough. Like it feels like it's a piece of role-playing game art, right? It's got potions. It's got a blue-skinned elf. It's got a green-skinned horned thing. It's got armor. It's got swords. All of that is familiar. But I'm like, it's taking away some of the familiarity that you would see in more traditional art and giving us a bit of weird in exchange. And I will always exchange traditional for weird, no matter what the exchange rate is, right? So let's see. We talked about this a little bit when we were talking about Hyperlate Drifter, I think. That idea of how do we introduce a role-playing game? Because remember, TROIKA is not introducing all role-playing games. TROIKA is teaching us what it wants us to think a role-playing game is. It's a finite difference. It's a little bit of a difference, but it's important. It's a very important difference. So what TROIKA wants us to think is you are reading a tabletop role-playing game, RPG, in which one player takes the part of the games master, that's such a British way of saying that, games master, and prepares the world and controls the people and peril in it, while the other players create characters on a journey through that self-same world. You now have the context and key terms to explore the medium independently, and nothing I say here can fully instruct you on what is a deep and rich form of entertainment on par with cinema or fly fishing. Treat it like you would any new hobby. I really like that. It's fairly rare that you see role-playing games refer to themselves in the first person. Like, who am I talking to here? Who is the I that is speaking to me? Is this the game itself? Is it the developers of the game? It instantly creates a different sense than if you said nothing we say here or nothing that can be said can fully instruct you, right? Again, like art, it's a choice, right? So beyond that, what you have here is TROIKA, a science fantasy RPG in which players travel by Eldritch Portal and non-Euclidean Labyrinth and golden-sailed barge between uncountable crystal spheres strung delicately across the humpback sky. What you encounter on those spheres and in those liminal places is anybody's guess. I wouldn't presume to tell you, though inside this book you will find people and artifacts from these worlds which will suggest the shape of things. The adventure and wonder is in the gaps. Your game will be defined by the ways in which you fill them. This is beautiful. This is like really nice prose. Like, honestly, kudos to whoever wrote this. It's really nice. It's conversational, but not too informal. It bears a certain formality that I think is quite nice. It speaks to us as though someone more experienced is inviting us. It feels like I'm being Willy Wonka'd. I feel like it's like I'm being Willy Wonka. This is a Willy Wonka voice. It's the like, you're coming into a place where the rules aren't the same as the world you're leaving. You're going to see mysterious, magical, marvelous things, some of which might scare you. Keep your hands and arms inside the cart unless you don't want to. Take a sword if you like. It's very nice. It's a good tone. It feels inviting, but also a little bit dangerous, right? It feels a little like, come with me and you'll see things you couldn't have imagined. How you respond to them, well, that's up to you. It's nice. It's good. It's a good tone setting. It's gentle, but it's not, because I think the problem that we run into sometimes with games like this is that they overdo it on the weird. And they're just like, this is an approach, right? The sort of slap in the face approach to be like, welcome to the Glorkosphere. That's going to be 16 fun bucks. Oh, don't have any fun bucks? I guess you have to earn them in the Doom Arena. Grab your Chlorthon whip. And it's like, okay, just fucking back off for a second. This feels much gentler. But also a little like, again, that winking kind of like, you're in danger, right? I like it. I think it's great. It's very cool. So let's find out more. So we go right into, thank you again. So let me talk about, this is just my personal preference for the way games are laid out. Different games do this differently. I tend to prefer short introduction, right? What is the game? What am I expected to do in the game? Why should I play the game, right? Give me that in the intro. Then tell me the base mechanisms of the game so I know how to play it. Then let me make my character, because now I know what choices to make. I know what my choices mean. Now, this game, it looks like jumps into character creation, which is okay, but I think I'm making choices. If I have any choices to make throughout, I might not be ready to make them, but it also seems like I'm not making any choices. It seems like it's all random. So if character creation is just random, then you can kind of skip over, because then you get an inverse didactic system where you say, intro, right? Instead of the base mechanisms, you get the character and you're like, what the hell does this mean? What is skill? What is luck? What are my possessions? Then the game explains them to you. Now, like with Electric Bastion Land, I hope you're ready for some weird character types, because whoo baby, this game has them in spades. So when we make our character, we roll a D3 plus 3 to determine skill. We roll 2d6 plus 12 to determine stamina. We roll 1d6 plus 6 to determine luck. And then we all start with 2d6 silver pence, which is Mike's more popular brother, a knife, a lantern, a flask of oil, a rucksack, and 6 provisions. Now, this is setting, right? Because I don't know anything about myself yet, and you don't know anything about yourself, but we do share a handful of pence, a knife, a lantern, a flask of oil, a rucksack, and provisions. We are both the kind of people that need those things. So that's setting, right? Backgrounds are everything your character was before you got hold of them. That's a very nice way of putting that. They provide you with skills, possessions, and other special benefits where noted. Slide into the role and make it your own. Roll randomly to determine your starting background. Notice they only... God, the prose in this is so nice. Notice they only touch the edge of specificity. I want to call the writing in this lyrical, but I don't think that quite covers it. It's definitely poetic. But it's poetic in a way that's not pretentious, because I have read some pretentious role-playing games. This feels... It's understated. The poesy of this book is so far quite understated, right? Again, it's that like familiarity with a bit of a wink, right? They only touch the edge of specificity is such a... Fuck, I'm in love with backgrounds already. It's up to you to tailor them to the worlds you play in, rework or remove them entirely, replace them with your own unique vision of the spheres. Boldly lay claim to the games you play, create content recklessly, and always write in pen. Now, we talked about this during, God, it's been months now, maybe almost a year. The last time I talked to Matt Colville, I don't know if you remember that, but we invited Matt to come and talk about his new game book, Strongholds and Followers. And we talked about authorial voice, right? Apocalypse World has very strong authorial voice. Morkborg has very strong authorial voice. This game's authorial voice is also very strong. But while I would clad Morkborg in bones, leather, and spikes, I would get myself a crushed velvet vest and a top hat and a whimsical pocket watch that doesn't tell time. And I would cloak this game in those, right? It's whimsy, but it's not like obnoxious. It's delicate. I like it. Yeah. Always write in pen, right? Yeah. It's very charming. Creating your own backgrounds. As a general rule, stick to 10 or so total points within a range of 1 to 3, with 3 being someone who's mastered their trade. Do not dismiss the importance of a description. They are the player's window into the world, but don't feel intimidated by them. Keep them simple and pack as much information as you're able. When they're short and evocative, the player will fill in the gaps. Backgrounds need not be balanced or equal to one another, but should instead be fun and flavorful. After making a new background, take a moment to consider the reaction of someone receiving it instead of some other entry. Balance the enjoyment rather than the numbers. Brilliant. Because again, remember, this isn't just player advice. This is us looking behind the curtain. Because what the author is saying here isn't just here's how you do it. They're saying here's how I did it. Because if you're making a game and you're giving your players different design advice than you yourself followed, you're making a mistake, right? Very nice. Very, very nice. So let's get weird. Okay. So we have all of these. We have all of these backgrounds. These are things that your character might have been. You might have been an ardent giant of Corda. Every giant has a different story about Corda, well told and interrupted with tears and laughter, of how they lost it and mean to find it soon enough. But oh, what of today? We should drink and cheer. We'll search once again in the morning. You possess an artifact of lost Corda, being an enormous blue star map, which can tell you where any portal leads, or a pocket barometer for forecasting the weather, or a ruby lorgnette, granting +2 second sight. Your advanced skills are 4 strength, 3 astrology, 2 run, 2 climb. I don't understand any of that, but if I rolled Ardent Giant of Corda, I would be very interested in filling in the details. I love the ethos of managing, and this is sort of me speaking from an advertising background, managing their players' expectations and subverting them. Because Ardent Giant of Corda, you're not supposed to roll it and say, fuck yeah, I'm a giant, right? You're supposed to look at it and say, what the hell is this? I'm so excited to fill in the details. So you're a space giant. Yeah. I also really like that the first thing they do is break their own advice, right? Because they say, stick to a range of 1 to 3, with 3 being someone who's mastered their trade. And then they give literally the first background. They give it 4 strength. They break their own rules right away, which again is a method of expressing design, right? Yeah, where is Corda? What is an ardent giant? What is a ruby lorgnette? I don't know, but we'll figure it out, right? And the art further helps, but also obfuscates. Why does the giant have a helmet? Do all ardent giants have helmets? Does Corda have a special atmosphere you can't find elsewhere? I don't know. But since I'm reading this, I've already read this, which tells me it's my job to fill in the gaps, right? So I feel comfortable doing that. I could be a befouler of ponds, a committed adherent of Pee-Pee Sherp, the bloated toad god who has no church other than the periphery of ponds, and no congregation other than gnats and dragonflies. You minister them all the same. You get spells. You get the drown spell, the tongue twister spell, and the undo spell. You never contract disease as a result of drinking stagnant liquids. A pond pissing high priest of the toad god. Cool. And then you're a burglar, right? You could be a burglar. I love the contrast, right? Space giant, toad worshiper, burglar. So burglars get a broad selection of skills. They can test luck to find and get in with the local criminal underbelly. But otherwise, you're a burglar. You might be a cacogen. Those filthy born, spawned in the humpback sky, lit only by the great black anti-suns and false light. Your mother was sailing on a golden barge and caught in some abstract fate when she passed you, far from the protective malaise of the million spheres. You're receptive to the power and glory of a generative form, a generative time, and it shows in your teratoid form. So, the backgrounds, they give you so much, but demand you fill in so much too. And I kind of love it. Like I would immediately just like want to start filling all this stuff in. They lay a greater stake on the setting, I think, than race and class ever did. And this is where we move from the gentle Willy Wonka bit into there is a universe full of confusing things you don't understand, but you don't have to learn them. You get to make them up yourself. And that's very cool, right? It's not consult the almanac and read 20 pages about cacogens. It's fucking figure it out yourself, right? Learn it. You get a volare. What the hell is a volare, right? I only know a fusil is a kind of gun because I know enough French, right? Yeah. All right. You could also be a chaos champion who no longer dons the spiked brass armor but has a chaos patron. They're happy for you to experiment with not plunging your world into disorder and darkness, but the door is always open. Name your patron. You may call upon them for aid. To do so, roll 3 6s on 66. I love this mechanism. I love it. The first time I ever saw it was in Nomine, where in that game, if you ever roll 3 6s, Satan takes personal interest in whatever you're doing, right? It's a satanic intervention. And if you roll 3 1s, it's divine intervention because you got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. This is also cool. If you can roll 666, your demonic patron shows up. You might be a claviger, a keymaster wandering the universe, fathoming the workings of all entryways. You know, I was thinking about this, and I've thought about this several times. I think that the OSR has out planescaped Planescape. Planescape is the much more consumer appealing version of some of the extremely weird, cool shit that the OSR has kind of been doing in terms of setting, not mechanisms, but like I feel like, you really see these games, and TROIKA, I feel, is going in this direction as well, where it's like, you're in an infinite universe. Why is the weirdest thing you could encounter like a warrior, like a goat centaur, right? Like, the willingness to go so far into the weird, I think is really, really appealing. I really like it. So you could be a key master, festooned with keys, enough to be considered armor. You have a sledgehammer and lock-picking tools. Feels like that would be a useful person to be. And then demon stalker, right? You could be a demon stalker. You stake your reputation on your ability to hunt and kill demonic creatures. Goatmen in the wilds or the angel cults of the slums all need to be driven off the edge of the map and into the shores of chaos. I like that angels are a form of demon in this setting. That's cool. Implied setting is my favorite. Also, we have a rank 5 skill, but it's a language, so. Or you could be a dwarf. Okay, so if you get any other job, if you get any other background, you are not a dwarf. But if you roll a 22, you're a dwarf. You grew up as a dwarf. You are short, hairy, belligerent, and alcohol dependent. There are no dwarf women or men. There are no dwarf children or dwarf families. So you can commit yourself to dwarfy endeavors. You have a masonry hammer and some artist supplies. You can eat gems and rare material. You are genderless. And you are immune to any compulsion that plays on your desire for sex. This means you don't have sexual organs. You excrete through sweating, and you stink. There you go. Those are cool dwarves. But you can be a dwarf. You might be an epopt, a roaming seer. You can test your luck to get a yes or no question, or yes or no answer to a mundane question. The GM makes the test in private and then gives you a vision one way or the other. That's fun. I love these special abilities. They're very cool. You could be an exotic warrior. No one has ever heard of your homeland. Your habits are peculiar, your clothes are outrageous, and on a land jaded to the outlandish and new, you still manage to stand out. I like that this career, this background is you're weird. You're so weird that you are weird for this world. Like, this universe is already super weird. You're extra weird. You might be a member of the Fellowship of Nidos, a mathemologist, honoring the clean and unambiguous truth of mathematics in the universe. I don't know what mathemology is, but okay. You could be a fellow of the Peerage of Porters and Basin Fillers, aka luggers. Good. You carry a burden and you fight with a bale hook. Or you could be a gremlin catcher. There it is. Small but vicious dog. So instead of being a rat catcher, you are a gremlin catcher. You also have 1d6 empty jars and a jar with a pissed off gremlin inside. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, also look, it's Norman Reedus. You get your little baby on your chest and you get cute. You could be a member of the Journeyman of the Guild of Sharp Corners, an assassin in training, graduated from fighting dummies and branding practice clients. Okay, whoa, what? Hold on. What? What a good piece of tiny world building. Branding practice clients. 3 words just told us a massive story about the universe. That's very good writing, right? Taking something that is understandable and believable, but that is alien and strange, and then suddenly you have to now figure out what that means. I assume that the Journeyman of the Guild of Sharp Corners, I assume the Guild of Sharp Corners pays people, and then they're hunted by assassins, and then they're branded as a practice. Like, I could have killed him, but I branded this person. Oh, that's so cool. That's great. It's laser tag, but for killing. Yeah. Okay, what else we got? We got Lens Quinet, a mercenary in the exclusive service of the Phoenix Throne. Handsomely played and sent to distant spheres on golden ships to spread the ineffable glory of your lord at the tip of your flaming sword. Oh, you're a Sardaukar. Or a member of the Swiss Guard, I guess. Both. I mean, the Sardaukar are just angry Swiss Guards, so. Okay. Cool. I would love to roll any of these. You know I love random character creation. A lonesome monarch. You were the ruler of all you surveyed, a great conqueror, a lawbringer. Unfortunately, your horse spread off into the pixie forest, where the court magician ensured you disappeared. Either way, you're now a lost and lonely sovereign without a kingdom. No one has heard of you or your people. Most people don't believe you and laugh, or worse, they do believe you, then shrug at the vagaries of fate. Aw, so sad. Also, this art is awesome. It's like a cut and paste version of a king and a queen from a deck of cards. Yeah. You have a nice weapon of your choice, a crown and a tired horse. Oh my god, you have 3 in fighting, but only with your nice weapon. Oh no. Okay, cool. Yeah, Electric Bastionland and this game, you can really feel that they're like weird English cousins. They hang out at the same like hookah bar. Talk about their dreams. A member of Miss Kinsey's dining club. The eaters know that there are only 2 worlds, the world without and the world within. They intend to insert as much of the prior into the latter as they can while experiencing the finest delights available. Again, poetry. There are only 2 worlds, the world without and the world within. My job is to eat as much of the world without as possible. Try the other white meat. You come with sharp metal dentures or forked metal dentures or blunt metal dentures, an embroidered napkin. You're very good at etiquette, and you're immune to mundane ingested poisons, and you can identify any object if eaten. This does not grant you immunity to any object that any effects that object may possess. These are great. You could be a Monkeymonger. Life on the wall is hard. One is never more than a few yards from an endless fall, yet those precarious villages still need to eat. This is where you come in with your edible monkeys. The distinction is purely for appeal, since all monkeys are, of course, edible. You used to spend days on end dangling your feet off the edge of the world, watching your chittering livestock while they scampered here and there. Jesus Christ. So you're a monkey farmer. You start with a monkey club, a butcher's knife, and 1d6 small monkeys. The GM may roll in the monkey mien table anytime the mien of the monkeys must be determined. All right, good. Finally, we have a class that serves what I always wanted to do, monkeymongering. So again, as we cut through these, I'm gonna roll back for a second because I want to remind you as we move through these, and something to keep in your head. The core design element of all of these things is this, right? Consider the reaction of someone receiving it. Think about, would it be exciting and fun to receive a career like Monkeymonger? These backgrounds, they're an invitation, right? They're an invitation to make things up. They're an invitation to have a good time, right? To like make something of this. This is what we've given you. Now do something with it, right? I could do something with Monkeymonger. Absolutely. Or you might be a necromancer, the least popular of the magical practitioners. Shunned by the major centers of learning, left to their own devices. They have dusty robes, the skull of their master, or a zombie servant of ghost with whom they have developed a codependent relationship. They get some pretty good skills. Healing, mortuary science, relationship counseling, sneak. Seems pretty good to me. These are great. A parchment witch. Known for their smooth skin, midnight gatherings, and preternatural fear of rain and open flames, the parchment witches are long-dead sorcerers who cannot give up the vanity of life. They cover themselves in perfect paper skin, a patiently painted and immaculate folded imitation of life intended to hide bone and gristle. You're undead, so you don't need to breathe or circulate blood. You take double damage from silver weapons and regain stamina half as well as anyone else. You must test your luck if you're outside in the rain or made wet or close to open flames. A failure will see your skin ruined. If your skin is compromised, you are very obviously a walking corpse. Yeah. Yeah, all right. Sure. I like that dwarf is an option, but so is poorly made dwarf. I'm a dwarf. What are you? I rolled poorly made dwarf. Dwarves are known for being the finest artisans of the million spheres. Give a dwarf a rock and they'll make gold. Give a dwarf a boulder and they'll make a dwarf. You were supposed to be the finest expression of a dwarfy craftsmanship, but you were deemed imperfect and abandoned. Poor guy. Ah, yeah. A questing knight? So you can literally just be Don Quixote? You're on a quest for the Grail, or the sword, or the throne, or for God, or a lost love, or some other significant object. Your sword is common enough, wandering the world, acting out your romantic melodrama. Questing knights are generally considered to be harmless. Despite the fact that all of your abilities are for fighting, pretty much, and you have a sword, a shield, a lance, and heavy armor, questing knights are considered harmless. Or you could be a red priest, a wandering confessor, cauterizer of the festering wound of sin. How can your spirit fly free while shackled and flabby? Traditional faceless metal helmet, symbolic single-headed great axe, ember, firebolt, flash, great axe fighting. All right. Or a rhino man. Or a lamassu. I like that. So, okay. So a thing that role-playing games often do, right? A thing that role-playing games often do is they say the player's characters are normal, right? Sure, they might be tieflings or elves or dwarves, but they're still humans in funny suits. They're normal in the way that a Klingon is normal, right? They're only a bit of deviation away. Monsters are monstrous, right? Sphinxes, gelatinous cubes, etc. To truly make a game feel fantasy cosmopolitan, you have to allow the players to be the same degree of weird as everything else. Otherwise, it's just an isekai, right? Otherwise, it's normal person in a weird situation. So, Rhino Man and Skeptical Lamassu make sense and set the tone of weirdness. That's right? Ghostmaster says, like the Star Wars Cantina. Dungeons and Dragons says Obi-Wan, Han, and Luke are PCs. Everything else is NPCs. A game like TROIKA says Obi-Wan, Luke, and Han probably don't exist. Everyone is a PC, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, Rhino Men, created by an insane sorcerer. They rebelled and killed him. Fairly rare creatures. You're a Rhino Man. They like gambling, I guess, or are good at it at least. And then Skeptical Lamassu. You have the body of a bull, the head of a man, the forelegs of a cat, and the wings of a swan. You are the sweetest of the children of the gods. You have 10d6 pence worth of sacred jewelry, a pillbox hat, claws, hooves, and wings, 3 random spells, and you can fly. Fuck yeah, this looks great. I would play a Lamassu. That'd be awesome. You could be a sorcerer of the Academy of Doors. Okay, so this is the wizard able to penetrate the 2d6th door. So you get spells in astrology and flashy robes. Oh, a small functional door worn on your forehead through which you channel your magic. How is it functional? Do you just open your brain and then you can see your skull and your brain? Does it open to another dimension? What's in the door? What if a tiny person goes in there? Yeah, it opens, it closes, you can ambulate through it. Is there another tinier sorcerer inside? So TROIKA has a clear understanding of what I consider to be the fundamental process of role-playing, which is asking and answering questions. So the fact that I have a small functional door on my forehead, it's not answers, it's questions, right? TROIKA doesn't care. TROIKA doesn't care if there's a brain in there or another tinier person or the entire universe in small scale. What they want is for you to ask the question. They don't give a shit about the answer because that's your responsibility. That's at your table. I love it. You could also be a sorcerer of the College of Friends. As an integral part of your tutelage in the subdimensional academy of the cordial wizard god, you spent your childhood learning about the fate of pixies, the color of magic, ritual grammar, Kelsey grammar, and endless other theoretical topics. Now that you're out in the world, discovering your education hardly accounted for any of the things you've seen. You have a pointy wizard hat, a pocket full of wizard biscuits, a wand, now kept for sentimental reasons, and then like a shit ton of not very well mastered spells. It's cute. It's like a bit of a Harry Potter reference, bit of a Pratchett reference. It's nice. TROIKA knows. It knows its bloodline. It knows its DNA. You could be a fellow... Oh my God. Oh my God, I love this. This is my favorite one so far. A fellow of the Sublime Society of Beefsteaks. Brawlers believe the application of might and a good beefsteak is the universal truth. Words have no power and can no more define the universe than they can build a house, lift a cup, or sear a steak. Might can. Really, they've thought a lot about this. Beefsteaks. So it's literal in the fact that you are a beefy creature. You get a weapon of your choice, a gridiron, 2 kilograms of premium meat cuts, a waistcoat, and a bottle of strong but fancy wine. It's almost, in my mind, it is almost necessary that you have an enormous handlebar mustache. And you talk with like a mid-Atlantic accent. Hello, Rudiger. How are you today? I'm doing fine, Archibald. How are you? Well, Rudiger, I'm doing very well. I had a steak for breakfast and I'll have a steak for lunch. Yeah. Bully! Yep. Yeah, that's great. The Temple Knight of Talak the Swordbringer. You were once and possibly still are a fanatical monk. You were always prepared and never unready. Also, you have swords coming out of you and a dope haircut. Six swords of your choice. Well, I found the Dave class. I found the Dave background. The Blessing of Talak awards you armor equal to half the number of swords you carry. You must be overtly armed at all times, or else Talak will take this blessing away. So you start with 3 armor, but if you had 20 swords, you'd have 10 armor. How many swords can you carry? I guess we'll find out. Also, I like that you're better at blacksmithing than you are at fighting with the swords. It's a bit like the gun spellcasters from Unknown Armies. Carrying the weapon is what counts. Using it, less so, right? Readiness. A thaumaturge with a little fez on. Wandering miracle workers, the depths of whose clothes are filled with pouches of unguents, icons, and herbs. No matter the metaphysical need, you are always prepared. You may test your luck to have exactly the common mystical tchotchke, bauble, or google the situation requires. Or you could be a robot. Your eyes are dull ruby spheres. Your skin is hard and smooth like ivory, but brown and whorled like wood. You're clearly broken. You have no memory of your creation or purpose, and some days your white internal juices ooze thickly from cracks in your skin. You get a soldering iron, detachable hands, or a centaur body, or a particle detector, or a random spell. You don't recover stamina by resting. You have to spend a full rest period with a hot iron welding your skin back together. You can recharge plasmic machines by trading your stamina for theirs, and you're always at least lightly armored. Let me read that one more time. You are clearly broken. You have no memory of your creation or purpose, and some days your white internal juices ooze thickly from cracks in your skin. There you go. I think that's more appropriate. Wait, did they say Vengeful Child? Your village was burnt down by ruffians, or your mother was beheaded by snake cultists, or your father was hung by a corrupt official. Either way, you took umbrage and entered the world with a chip on one shoulder and an oversized sword on the other. 2 large sword provides +1 to longsword fighting and damage while using it, which is different from 2 live crew, which provides sick beats and dope rhymes. Only you may benefit from this bonus. It's not magic, just sentimental. And then an old hunting bow and 12 arrows. I like that vengeance is a skill. That's pretty good. How is a child better at fighting than the swordmaster? Because he's vengeful. This kid is the protagonist of the 3 Inches of Blood song. He is set out to kill the orcs, slay the orcs, destroy the orcs. Yeah. Or you're a venturesome academic, aka a nerd. You can't read without your glasses. You're a classically trained academic, and you may test your luck to recall facts you might have reasonably been expected to have encountered relating to the natural sciences and humanities. Okay, what else we got? We got Wizard Hunter. Some say man is the most dangerous prey. They're wrong. Can men ignite the air and freeze your blood? Can men turn into flocks of seagulls when cornered in an alley? No, they can't. Wizards are the most dangerous prey. Hell yeah. Hey, another ruby lorgnette. A sword. What? This might be the first game that I have read where this like absurd describing a thing without explaining it has like really appealed to me. Like every time I've seen one of these, what the fuck is a pocket god? My brain immediately, the DM part of my brain is just like, invent everything. And I just like spiral out into like designing things. So yeah, I can't wait to learn more about these things. Yeah, it's a pocket god. It's a god in your pocket. I guess we'll figure out mechanically if it has any benefit, but I'm already excited about it, right? Lungardi lawyer. Down in Lungardi, they do things different. They respect the law. Every day there's a queue outside the courts to get a seat to see the latest up-and-coming barrister defend their case with a meter of steel. Oh, this spelling of meter. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. These people follow the careers of their favorite solicitors, watch all their cases, collect their portraits, and sneak into the court after hours to dab the patches of blood on white handkerchiefs. In Lungardi, they love the law. So you get either a rapier, and either a puffy shirt or a sambak, lots of scars, or longsword and heavy armor, or hammer and gargantuan shield, a manual on Lungardi law, and a barrister's wig. 2 etiquette, 1 healing, 4 fighting. I like that this lawyer is better at fighting than most of the other fighting backgrounds. It's so evocative, right? And then lastly, you could be a zoanthrope. It's very clever. At some point in your past, you decided you didn't need it anymore. You found a zoanthropologist and paid them to remove your troublesome forebrain and elevate you to the pure and unburdened beast you are today. No starting possessions. You've thrown off the shackles of civilization. You're probably nude. 3 climb, 3 run, 2 strength, 2 fist fighting, 2 club fighting, 2 wrestling. You're immune to all mind-altering effect. You're able to speak, but choose not to. When making advancement checks related to abstract thought, you must roll twice and succeed on both to improve them. So good. So that's the kind of characters you can be in this game. You will be one of those things. And you don't get to choose. So now let's figure out how the game works. Let's learn the rules. So the dice in this game, the way it works is there's only D6s. It can be used as a D3, 6, 66, or 666. If you roll a D3, it's half to roll a D6, or D666, or D66666. Just roll a number of them and assign each one a digit. To do most actions, it's roll 2d6, add them together, and either roll versus or roll under. So rolling under is 2d6. You want to get equal to or under the roll. Rolling 2 6s is always a failure. Okay. Rolling versus is when 2 people roll and compare with the higher total winning. In a duel, you might be rolling 2d6 and adding your sword fighting total, looking to beat your opponent. Interesting. Okay. Oh, is character creation roll and assign the digits? So for backgrounds, you roll and have 2 to pick from? Let me check that again. 1d3 plus 3 to determine skills. But then advanced skills is 4. Like, do you get 4 strength, 3 astrology, 2 run, and 2 climb? And then you roll this for skill? Or like, is skill a different stat? I get, let's just keep looking. Okay. Skill is a stat. Okay. All right. Characters will have a variety of advanced, oh, here we go. Advanced skills and spells. The number given in the background plus their skill is referred to as their skill total. Oh, okay. So if I have a 3 in skill and a 4 in swords, my skill total is 7. So when I am rolling under, I need to roll 2d6 and get less than 7 or equal to 7. Interesting. Okay, cool. All right. And then you have luck. Of all the numbers in your character sheet, luck is likely to fluctuate the most. Represents your character's fortune and intuition. I like luck in games. I think it's great. Thank you for putting that in the game, TROIKA. What this happens is the GM will ask you to test your luck and suffer the consequence. You must roll equal to or less than your current luck. Every time you do, your luck score goes down by 1. Testing your luck is not optional. The GM is not obligated to give you the details. Gaining and losing luck for every 8 hours, you regain 2d6 luck. You can use luck in combat to break a tie in your favor. Before rolling for damage, you can test your luck and add 2. Optionally, if the game is too fatal, you can allow them to test their luck, and instead of dying, perfect. And yeah, it's got the same system as one of the like kind of advanced choose your own adventure books, like Fighting Fantasy, for example, uses similar stuff. Yeah, it's like a variable of Dungeon World with some roll under. Yeah, it's got a lot going on, but it's unique. Let me just say that. So TROIKA could have, and this is true of a few of the other, all the OSR games that I like, you could have just used basic D&D. You could have been like, it's basic D&D with some weird setting shit on top. Thank you for not doing that. Thank you for making a game that isn't just more basic. Because I have played enough basic Dungeons and Dragons. I've played basic D&D. I have the, old school revival, like box set. Like I just don't need any more of that shit. So new systems are always more appealing to me, even if they're based on something I haven't played a lot of, right? That's all I need. Give me those. So this is cool. I'm excited. Stamina is your hit points, basically. If you run out of 0, you're in danger of dying. If you sleep for 8 hours, you get 2d6 stamina. Cool. That's good. Maximum of 3 provisions per day will provide healing benefits. There may be other forms of healing available, like a bathhouse or drinking a potion. If you ever go below 0 stamina, you're dead. If you die, you may immediately make a new character while others mourn your loss and fight over your possessions. What game was it? We did a first look at a game that had a funeral process like this, where it was like, when you die, everyone has to say something nice about you, and for each person that does, you get a +1 on a roll for your new character. Was it Goblin Town that did that? Yeah, Goblinville did that. Yeah. Oh, that was cute. I like that. Yeah, I love ritual behaviors that cross the line between character and player. I think those are really fun. So I'm glad that's in there. All right, initiative. During combat, or at other times where it's important to know who goes first, thank you. Initiative isn't just for combat. Initiative is just who goes first when that's a question. You'll notice I do this a lot in Dungeons and Dragons. I do it in Genesis, where I'll say, can you make an initiative roll to see if you beat them? Right? Because it's just, you can use it for lots of other stuff. Okay, so to do this, you get a container and a selection of colored dice or convenient markers. Consider cards, poker chips, etc. Assign each character 2 tokens of a single color. Add tokens to the stack for the enemy equal to their total combined initiative. If you have 8 lizard men, you would add 16 tokens to the stack. Add 1 token of a distinct color to the stack. This token signifies the end of the round. This is so weird. Optional, enemy initiative limit. It's likely that sometimes the character's enemies will grossly outnumber them and make it very hard for them to act. The GM may optionally limit the number of character initiative tokens placed in the stack to double that which the characters contribute. So if the party is attacked by 50 goblins, the goblins can only contribute 20 tokens. Bear in mind, balance the stack as seems appropriate. Weird. So you remove... This is so strange. It's wild. Yeah. So, okay. So, each character gets two... Right? I need a visual. So, each character gets 2 tokens of a single color. So, I have blue, you have black, you have red, etc. Add a token to the stack for the enemies equal to their total combined initiative. So, do enemies have all one color? So it would be like blue, green, yellow, black, white, and then 16 green tokens. Okay, yeah. Add 1 token of a distinct color to the stack, a gold token signifying the end of the round. The GM will remove a token from the stack at random, the color or design of which will determine who holds initiative and takes a turn. Consider giving a copy of the token to each player so everyone remembers which color or design is theirs. The end of the round is drawn. All tokens are put back in the stack. Remove... It's a deck of cards. At the end of the round, whether you've gone or not, remove tokens contributed by dead characters and enemies, resolving any per round or end of round activities. Oh, wow. Yeah, or a sack of rocks. Hired help that are willing to engage provide 1 initiative token to the stack. Henchmen share a single color. Enemies contribute a varying number, but share the same color or design. When drawing an enemy token, you can declare that any enemy is acting, including one who's acted previously this round. My God, it's weird, but I kind of love it. So it's like you might go several rounds without ever taking a turn, or you might get to go a lot. Yeah, so it could be like, oh, that'd be so frustrating or so fun because now spells have a variable initiative time. So, okay, so normally, let's say I cast a spell, you're invulnerable for 1 round. No one can harm you, right? So I give you the spell, you're now invincible until we draw that gold token. If the gold token's at the bottom of the deck, you're invincible for a really long time. Or I could cast invincibility on you, and then the next turn we draw, shit, the round's over. Invincibility is over. That is so cool. I could see it being incredibly swingy, and that could be really fun or really frustrating, but I think that the fun would pay for the frustration. This is a very neat initiative order and not really like anything I've seen. Like, it's a bit like Genesis, but it's also like, and then you could add stuff. Oh my God, if you wanted, like, you could make traps or specific events occur during the turn by adding them into the deck. So you could draw a deck, you could draw a card from the deck that says everyone gets teleported to another dimension, and there's only one of them, and the deck's like 50 cards long. So you could add in scene changes, you could add in, oh yeah, that's really neat. Random turn length adds a degree of uncertainty where you never know how much time you have left. Every second counts. Initiative is not taking place. You hesitate, panic, or there are other incidental delays. The goblins have few tokens because they're cowardly, not because they're slow. The dragon has many because it knows exactly what it wants, not because it's fast. God damn, that is brilliant. So when you hold the initiative, you can generally perform an action. You can hit somebody, you can shoot somebody, you can cast a spell, you can choose not to act, you can move, you can retrieve an item, you can do stuff, right? You stab, bludgeon, or otherwise interfere with someone, roll 2d6 plus skill plus advanced skill versus an opponent doing the same thing. The winner rolls for damage, the loser deducts the number generated from their stamina. Oh. You can hit know that either party in exchange can potentially win. So if the whole party is attacking you, you might be getting shots on them. Oh, fun. So it fixes the action economy of all the players alpha striking the dragon, because the dragon gets to strike back if you fail. You got to be bold to attack. So shooting someone, you shoot into melee. When you shoot, you assign a number to everybody involved and roll a die. If their number comes up, they're the one that gets hit. You could choose to aim. If so, you hold your initiative token, and when your next token comes up, you can use your aim. Okay, and you can hang on to it until the next time that comes up. You can cast a spell. It requires stamina. You roll under or versus, and then you roll in the oops table if you fumble. Oh my god. Can't wait to read the oops table. You can delay. You can move. Every action has about 4 meters folded into it. Retrieve an item, use an item, or grapple. Cool. A couple of other mechanical concerns about how that stuff works. A turn is as long as the thing they do. It's a few seconds long. A round is just... A round is the period between drawing successive tokens and is roughly equal to 1 minute. So, oh, that's so fun narratively. So they always take a minute, but if you draw the turn card right away, it's because everybody is like circling each other, but nobody's willing to act. But if you draw it later, it's still a minute, but a shit ton happens overlapping. It's a brawl. Yeah. Sick. Cool. Okay, so let's take a look at damage. So if you damage somebody, you roll a d6 and consult the damage chart on the inside front cover. Ah, there you go. When you strike a mighty blow, you double it. Mighty blow is what? Double 6. Okay. Armor reduces the damage you take to a minimum of 1. Takes up inventory slots. You can carry 12 things. Hey, there's the answer to our swords. You can carry 12 swords and have an armor class of 6, which is pretty fucking impressive. That's double heavily armored. But you have no inventory space for anything but the 12 swords you're carrying around. I like it. Yeah. If you carry more than 12 items, you have -4 to all your rolls. Cool. And armor is double its... the inverse double of its protective value. So heavy armor. Oh, so mechanically, heavy armor is the same as that character carrying 6 swords around. And so let's take a look at the rules for retrieving an item. So if you're not already holding it, you roll 2d6 and you have to score equal to or higher than its position on your inventory list. If you succeed, you can pull it out and do what you intended. Otherwise, you spend your entire action finding it. Double ones indicate a failure. Right, so inventory is skeuomorphic. You put the stuff on the bottom that you're not interested in getting, and you put the stuff you need on the top so that it's right there. It's the easiest to retrieve. Pretty damn cool. So how do we advance, right? What is this game about? How is it about that? What are we rewarded for? So, life is learning and you can't experience without growing in some way. You'll bend and change. When you use a skill, put a tick next to it. Luck, stamina, and skill never change. The next time you have a chance to rest, roll 2d6, and if you get over your current skill, you can increase it by 1. You can test three test skills in 1 rest. When an advanced skills reach 12, you no longer need to roll a 12 followed by another 12 to improve it. Or no, you do need a 12, then another 12. There's no upper limit to an advanced test. Interesting. Okay. Cool. And then training and learning new advanced skills. This game makes me want to buy a bunch of magic tokens for the initiative order. Right? Like, you know, I've got like 40 goblin tokens. So now I'm going to slot them as my like enemies. Yeah. Like go on Etsy and buy a bunch of custom magic tokens that somebody made, and then commission an artist to make art for the PC tokens. Yeah. And you can only advance a skill that you've used. So if you never use your skills, they don't get better. If you need to train in a new skill you don't already have, you have to find somebody to teach you. Nice. All right. So here's all the skills. I'm not going to go through the whole skill list, mainly because we do have a limited amount of time and I want to leave some of the fun discovery to you. I do want to know what the hell a ruby lorgnette is. A collapsible spectacle made with ruby lenses. Ah. There we go. Okay. Yeah, they're set skills. But I guess we'll pause on this. If a skill isn't listed here, then just make it up. Anything can be a skill. Jousting, gambling, eating. Skills are primarily used as flavor and just an occasional fun instance where your incredibly specific and heretofore otherwise useless ability helps you and your friends out is priceless. So you can just make up your own, but there's a core list. Because again, tables are setting. So these are the things that characters do in the game, but you might do other things, so just make up your own skills. Yeah. Yeah, what's a pocket god? Little cloth puppets. Aww. Little cloth puppets made in the image of your numerous gods. If you whisper a secret to one and throw it away, you regain 1 luck. They're even cuter than I thought. That's adorable. I love it. All right. So to cast a spell, and I won't go through the whole list because I want you to discover for yourself. To cast a spell, you must spend stamina equal to the casting cost. So it hurts you to cast spells, and roll under your skill total in the spell you want to cast. Double 1 always succeeds, double 6 fails, and requires a roll on the oops table. So I'll leave you to discover. Wow. That's so cool. Look at that weird creature. I don't know what it is, but it's great. All right. There's another kick-ass tape. Oh, these are so good. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think that we are in a period of like art games with a clear, strong idea of what they want to present, but that are being paired with like fun and decent game mechanics. Like there is a renaissance happening right now where we're getting games that are both beautiful to look at and like weird and cool in their own very specific way, but they're actually also good games, which is really nice. So thank you for that. I'm thinking of Bastionland, I'm thinking of TROIKA, I'm thinking of Morkborg, I'm thinking of Mothership. Like all of those games feel like they belong to a family of games made by people who care about art in a really strong way. Yeah, which is really cool. Okay, so let's look at enemies. Enemies that characters encounter are not like them. They are simpler machines that produce simpler results or similar results. Again, poetry. Enemies are simpler machines that produce similar results. Enemy skill covers everything they lack, including advanced skills and luck. Enemy spells don't use stamina. Enemies don't spend luck. They don't have a luck score. They roll versus their skill. It's like, nature in Mouse Guard, right? It's nature in Mouse Guard. It's nature in that. It's like, we don't want to give them a full character sheet. They have one stat. They're good at being what they are. The stamina of enemies tends to be lower than characters. This is to speed battle along and make it fairer on the characters who have to spend stamina for magic. The combat rules have been balanced in such a way that a goblin is a threat no matter how much stamina it has. Then we talked about how initiative is different. Armor is the same. If you have a plan for the enemy's attitude, go with that. Otherwise, roll to see how they feel. Oh shit, you have encounter tables for each monster. So an Alzabo is going to be hungry, confused, protective, patient, watchful, or evasive, but a boggart will be belligerent, obstinate, petulant, insolent, sullen, or smug. God, I think I know some boggarts in real life. Oh, so cool. Yeah, it's like nature. Exactly. Yeah. This is a dragon. That's so cool. All right, so a dragon, because I'm interested in this, a dragon is skill 16, stamina 32, it gets 8 initiative tokens, it has armor 4, does damage as a gigantic beast, it is sleeping, playful, hungry, quizzical, aggressive, or paranoid. Once per round, it can douse a 24-foot area in dragon fire. Everyone is automatically hit. And will take 6, 8, 12, 16, 18, 24, or 36 damage. This game is giving me permission to be weird in a way that I don't think any game ever has. Also, can I just point out, this dragon has a person on their back. It's made at least partially of staircases, and the color palette of this dragon is the same as a bag of licorice all sorts. Anybody ever had those? They're like grandpa candies. Maybe it's just me. My grandpa loved licorice all sorts. That's what this dragon reminds me of. Grandpa candy. If you lick this dragon, it tastes like licorice. Yeah. Gremlins, harpies, kaibit, the loathsome worm that will consume the sun. All hail! Praise unto you, the loathsome worm that will consume the sun. I found my god. If killed, the stub of the creature's neck can be descended and used as an entry to the primary underworld. The worm will reform in 5,125 years. Fuck yeah. Go lick a dragon. Again, this is a manticore. Look at that face art. God. All this art is so inspiring. Oh, an owl. The rooftops of TROIKA are crenellated by owls. Oh, TROIKA's a place. I had no fucking clue. Also, again, remember, and I'm skipping a lot of this because, again, I want to let you discover it yourself, and I also want to like dig into it a little deeper on my own. But this is all setting, right? We did this in Dungeon World. The implied setting of Dungeon World is the Monster Manual. Look through Monster Manual, and it'll teach you about what we think the setting is by default. Jesus Christ, a separator. Oh, these monsters are horrifying. Cool, and then we get an introductory adventure. Now, again, I'm not going to spoil the adventure, so let me just skip through to make sure there isn't anything after the adventure. I like when game... Okay, so I said I wasn't going to spoil the adventure, and I'm not, but I really have to show you something. Look. Look. God damn. Isn't that cool? So cool. What even is that? Here we go. Okay. So let's finish with the oops table. Let's all roll on the oops table together. So the oops table. If you cast a spell and you critically fumble, and then also probably any time that the GM wants you to feel like, yeah, like you just suffered from a DMT mishap, you could roll it, right? Go through the table. Somebody roll on the oops table or go through the portal. So let's see. You get turned into a pig. 25 years of your life drop away, making you a very small child. If you're younger than 25, you disappear into cosmic pre-birth. A shoal of herring in the water they previously swam in appear above you. You no longer know how to speak. You get hiccups. You grow a beautiful tail. All of your currency turns into butterflies. An orc shows up. You get red eye curse. Whenever you open your eyes, fire shoots out. Oh, they turn you into Cyclops. Ooh, what a terrible curse. Ugh. All shoes in the vicinity catch fire. The wizard grows horns. All your body hair falls out with an audible fuff. Your weapons turn into flowers. Your face melts off and reveals a handsome new one. You disappear in a puff of smoke. Your hands find a mind of their own and they hate you. Your head turns into your head is swollen with plasmic fluid. You become sick and cough up black fluid, which will eventually become your doppelganger. Everyone turns into a pig except for you. Jesus Christ. All animals in the vicinity are brought back to life, including leather, which will crawl and flap about blindly. Ah, oh no. And then the group vegan just looks at everybody like, I fucking told you. Vegetation dies, a pool of color opens and sucks you off to a random sphere of existence. Exposed liquid turns into curdled milk. Someone who's watching their bones disappear. Something gains sentience. A portal opens up and a demon comes out. You fly off in a random direction. You suffer a coughing fit in which gremlins tumble out of your mouth. You instantly grow a shaggy beard. You become 20 years old. Today is your new birthday, and you will feel terrible if no one notices. A calm and healthy pig appears in place of the spell. So I feel like in the universe, if I did this, the pig would be the totem animal of all wizards everywhere, right? The Wizards Academy flies the flag of a boar's head. Pigs are tied to wizards because of this table, right? What else? All your teeth fall out, then they grow back in. Sudden random spell goes off. Wizard is cursed with curses. You cannot speak without swearing and are unable to cast magic for 1d6 fucking hours. The wizard sneezes mightily, knocking down everyone in front of you. The spell being cast will not stop. It goes haywire, out of control, firing off madly until the wizard is subdued. So can I just point out, can I point something out to you? Unlike even Electric Bastion Land, unlike Morkborg, TROIKA has no setting. Now, I'm being a little bit disingenuous on purpose. So TROIKA does not give you an explicit setting, but instead hints at or tells you the setting as it goes through. Now, I will say that the lack of a GM chapter or lack of GM advice, again, it feels like, and this I think is a byproduct of the OSR that I still kind of hate. And I really want more OSR games, more games that identify themselves as OSR, to respect that not everybody just instinctively knows how to game master. Like, maybe tell us how to do it. Because if I picked up TROIKA and I intended to be the GM, I would feel really abandoned, right? I'd feel real left out. And it's a typical failing of the OSR to just assume that the GM will figure it out on their own. And I think there's lots of reasons why that might happen. And I'm not gonna go into them because I don't feel like it's a fair thing to level at TROIKA specifically. But if I ever do a video where we just talk about the OSR in general, I think that's something that is missing from this. Even a short chapter that just says, like, here are the principles. Now, it does imply a lot, right? The author does say to us many times, this is something that we wrote for a reason. This is the reason. This is the setting. It's implied through a bunch of stuff. It talks about why the rules are written the way that they are, but I just want more. Honestly, give me 10 pages. Give me 5 pages. Give me a single page of bullet points telling me what to do when I get lost, because I know that I've dropped enough acid in my life that I could run this game off the cuff. In the same way that I've listened to enough blackened death metal, I've ground up enough doom, right, that I could run Morkborg without thinking about it. But if you're not me, those games are going to seem pretty fucking weird to you. And yeah, let me shout out, I'll shout out quickly, Electric Bastion Land does have this. This isn't universal, which is why I don't want to level it here and now at TROIKA specifically. I would like to see something like that. But, you know, I mean, this game has so much to love. And if you are already playing games that are less conceptual, maybe you're going to figure it out. But I would love to see how to be a weird GM, right? How to do the weird thing. But the writing tone in this is amazing. The art is amazing. The game itself, I would I would happily play this, right? I would love to play or GM it, and I think I could tell a pretty fucking weird story. I think Troika might be small enough, like its footprint might be small enough that we could pretty easily do a one-shot of this. Maybe in the future, I'll do an actual play series of games like this, of Morkborg, of Troika, of Electric Bastionland. I feel like I've said this enough times that I think that like a series of like analytical one-shots where we do like 3 hours of play and then a discussion of the game, or like, it seems exhausting, but like, yeah, I would do them like once a month or something, not once a week. Yeah, maybe something to think about for like the fall. I'll ponder it. Troika's definitely on the list. And I guess being at the end of the page, that's how we do. So if you want to check out this game, TROIKARPG.com, go check it out. Please do. Tell them Adam sent you. If you want to see more of what the Melsonian Arts Council is doing, they have a separate website, melsonia.com. So you can go check that out. Thank you to the Melsonian Arts Council for sponsoring this Troika First Look, and thank you to everybody who came and watched. The best way that more of these first looks can happen is that you go and check out these games, right? Buy the game, play it on Roll20, tell the people who make them, tell them on Twitter that you bought it and you played it and that I sent you, because then it makes it easier for me to go to those developers and say, hey, I want to do a first look. What do you think? So if you do end up checking it out, let them know on Twitter or whatever that you liked it, and let them know that Adam sent you. And as always, thanks for coming and for being open to the idea that there is a vast world of weird, cool, exciting role-playing games out there worth taking at least a first look at. That's it for me. Thanks for coming, everybody. We will see you next time. Our next first look is going to be, I think, next week. I haven't finalized the date. I think it's going to be next week. And we're going to take a first look at the Constrained Swords Fall adventure. What is it called? I got to look it up, but keep an eye on it. We're going to take a look at Swords Fall. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to get our first taste of that system and of the world. And if you like good art, you're definitely going to want to check out Summit of Kings. That's the one. Thank you. Cool. All right, friends. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming.